Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name's Patrick. If you're new here, YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're just tuning in, you're watching, waiting for this to start, hit the thumbs up button, y'all. Let's get 100 likes as fast as we possibly can. Shout out to Rumble. We're live there as well. Shout out to TikTok. We're live on TikTok. Welcome in, everybody. Micah Francis. So many things. So many things. I saw a video from Aprila A, pinned down in the description. So make sure you go subscribe to her. Coffee with Crime podcast and JLR. A few videos from them as well. We're gonna check them out. But the first one was April. I think it's April A. I don't know why I said Aprila. That's whoa.
Bruh.
But she has a theory. So this one was a new theory. And yeah, her last video that we watched was really, really interesting. So let's go. Let's go. Are y'all ready for this? Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, TikTok, hit the follow button, subscribe buttons, all the buttons. I'm going to shrink myself down. Let's jump into this theory. You guys ready for this? And make sure you go follow everybody that's in the description, y'all. Subscribe to the channels and show them some love. Let's go.
Hello again. I have another theory. This is just to brainstorm what maybe could have happened. Not saying this is true or false or anything. So what if JP hired a killer or killers? So sorry about that. That would mean
Whoa, that escalated quickly.
that yeah.
Keep in mind, this dude is innocent until proven guilty. He is not being looked at for anything that we know of. Totally innocent. But this is her theory. Let's keep going.
Yeah, she probably was followed. However, side theory, what if it was someone that we haven't seen yet? We have, these suspicious people in the videos, but if you think about it, they don't need to go into the pawn shop to follow her to do this. Just wait for her to come out. They know she's in there, right? She's not going anywhere. They maybe could have also sent someone in, like an underling, to get intel, keep an eye on her, maybe gauge some time and set things up. And then also that has another dual purpose of, they're the one on camera instead of maybe the higher up person. They didn't have to get their hands dirty yet. The big problem with this theory is that she bought that gun. She did it. She bought the gun. It's hard to say, I'm going to kill you, and then, hey, but can you go buy the gun, right? So how, right? So that's another thing. I'm just going to randomly say that JP does love to say that everything is Micah's doing. She wanted that. She did this. This was her, blah, blah, blah. Her, right? So kind of plays into this. So what if she planned to go buy a gun soon or on a specific day, maybe, whatever? Maybe he had intel, he knew this. And another thing, GP seems to like text and message a lot of people that shouldn't know his business, and he just texts them random like TMI stuff.
I think I know where she's going with this, y'all. Do you guys get it? I think I know where she's going with this.
And I don't know, it almost seems like, hey, I'm gonna bring you into my drama and my heartache and make you feel sorry for me. And then later he can use that to, gain some sort of intel on Micah. Like, hey, can you keep an eye on her? Because don't you remember when she was going through that thing? Yeah, she's doing that again. So can you just let me know if you see, he's that kind of guy. Anyway, what if she planned to go do this? They knew it. Ultimately, JP hired these people. That would also make the 911 call fake. The problem with that I have again with the 911 call is that if you were going to fake that call, I don't think, if you did it like 1,000 times, you would never come up with that conversation. It was just really odd and random, and I don't think you would have ever thought of it. It's just, listen to it again. It's just weird. I did have a small thought, like, did she really even die there in that spot? Maybe not. It could have been nearby.
That would explain why things weren't really where they should have been. Casings and the firearm itself. her belongings. That's a good point. That's something to think of. That is definitely something to think about.
But also that kind of made me think, was the cry fake? Was the gunshot not the one? Were her belongings thrown on the bank like the fisherman said, next to her in a way that it was staged? Listening to him talk about how he found things, how he heard the scream, heard the gunshot, went over, saw the belongings just sitting right there next to the water on the bank, like, hi, hello. It's almost like it was just presented to him. And it's possible that,
oh, snap. Yvonne, thank you. Very sweet. Thank you, Yvonne.
He was the unfortunate person that heard the scream and the shot and went over and found what someone else did, maybe. So he could have been randomly involved in the scene. It did make a whole lot of sense to begin with, that whole scene, right? Not much makes sense with it. Oh my God, you guys, I just thought about, so wasn't there a random bullet in the tree and everyone thought, why would she shoot? That's why.
Desiree, thank you.
That's why. That one was just to get attention, somebody's attention, so they could come find her.
Oh, man. Oh, Sierra, thank you. What do y'all think about that? All that, and then that another one to get attention? That seems, it seems plausible. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't happen. I guess we don't know. We may never know, unfortunately. Oh, YouTube, 120-something people watching. Let's get 100 likes. Everybody hit that thumbs up button for me real quick. If you're enjoying the show, we got plenty more to get through. So hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. TikTok, same thing. Sierra, thank you so much for all that. You were so sweet. And y'all hit the follow button, tap the screen like crazy. Let's get the 25,000 likes. So TikTok will just keep sharing the word about the live stream. Thank you so much, you guys. And come over and watch the Mystery Project on YouTube. That's where you can actually see the videos. Just search the Mystery Project. You can see it. Sierra, you're incredible. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on. Next video. Here we go.
So today I have another update on the Micah Francis case. I do plan on continuing to follow this case until there's some sort of justice, and maybe further on. We'll see what happens. But I plan on following this case because I am deeply invested in it. So John Paul Miller, he continues to...
We all are. We all are. This one is like the one that just it's like a Rubik's Cube. We got one side figured out and messed up all the other sides. And we're like, no, it all needs to be the same.
Talk badly about Micah even after she's passed. And, the authorities, they've never really done their job in protecting Micah or bringing her any sort of justice. And so the public has really made a lot of effort to help push getting Micah justice. She tried to get help so many times and she was failed just as many times. When someone's trying to do everything right and reaching out for help, advocating for themselves, and they don't get it from the authorities, not her family, but from the authorities, what is a person supposed to do? And so I think that's why the public has been so invested in this, is because we see how much Micah was let down. I actually just covered another story on my channel here. It's about Lauren Johansson. It's
oh my God, I just posted a video about her, y'all. I posted a video about her, and there's 3 more parts coming on the TikTok. Y'all, make sure if you're on TikTok, go click my face, go to the profile. There's the newest video. Click that one, leave some comments and likes and stuff on that video. Spread that one out because it's Lauren Johansson. Y'all, it's crazy how much that girl was just let down by the whole system. Like, it's shockingly insane. Yeah, go watch that one, y'all, after this. And I have a video on YouTube about it too.
Absolutely terrible. Again, she is another victim where the authorities completely failed in protecting her from her abuser, Bryson Rivers. If you're interested in it, I just shared it. The stories really do kind of mirror one another in the sense that they are 2 young, talented, beautiful women that were taken from this earth too soon because 1, the authorities and the people in power failed them, and 2,
Run to Jay, Mr. I'm the guy dressed in a robe at the protest. Yes, I called you Jesus. I called you the second coming of the Lord and Savior. I knew it wasn't real. I mean, you could be, but I knew, you know, you got to bring a little bit of humor to these dark cases and dark times that we are apparently living in. So yeah, dude, shout out, man. I saw you did an interview with CJ too. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna go check that out. Super cool, man. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you go follow, subscribe, run to Jay. Thanks, man.
They had abusive men in their lives, really, is what it comes down to. But yeah, today's video is about Micah and our continued fight to, of course, bring justice for Micah. Of course, I want to, before I get into it, remind you guys that everything is pulled from public sources. This also includes some of my own opinions as well. I always recommend you do your own research, form your own opinions. And as of now, John Paul Miller has not been convicted of anything somehow. So, you know, everything is alleged at this time.
She said somehow.
Just keep that in mind. I have to say that. But okay, so let's just get into
Thanks for all the finger hearts too. Y'all are so sweet. Thank you so much.
To today's discussion. So 5 days ago now, as I'm recording this, the Francis family took to Facebook and they posted an extremely impactful video, thanking the community for their support and reminding those that want to help in the fight for justice for Micah different ways in which they can do so. The reality is that monetary support is very much needed from the Francis family as they continue, you know, the legal battles in her honor, such as having her last name changed back to her maiden name. Also helping to push Micah's law into action, which would help protect others from the various forms of abuse just outside of like physical abuse, such as like coercive control, which we know that allegedly John Paul used against Micah. And so, you know, these legal battles that the Francis family is taking on definitely does require monetary support.
Hello, I'm Micah's father, Michael Francis.
Shout out to Michael. He commented on a video the other day. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to the whole family. Thoughts and prayers. And I'm serious. Anybody in the Francis family, if y'all need anything, you let me know. Anything, you let me know.
My name is Angelita, and I'm Micah's mother.
Hello, my name is Destiny, and I am Micah's oldest sister.
Hey everybody, my name is Nate, and we're older brother and only brother.
Hey y'all, I am Sierra Francis. I am Micah's sister.
Hi everybody, my name's Anna. I'm Micah's younger sister.
Hello, my name is Abby Francis. I am Micah Acacia's younger sister. Micah selflessly dedicated herself to her community. We are seeking the support of the community. No matter the initial ruling of her untimely death, we are standing firm in her place and saying no more.
The fight for justice for Micah is far from over and very much in the early stages.
Your donations go directly towards funding that fight and the many lawyers that are involved on this case.
Your donations are not only helping the civil side of this fight, but that it will also help in spreading awareness surrounding the proposed Micah's Law. This law is not gender specific and is related to many areas of abuse.
Abuse is not always physical abuse, which South Carolina currently only acknowledges physical abuse. Micah's Law will acknowledge all abuse. Please go to www.justiceformicah.com.
The community has helped lift us up in moments that we could not have gotten through otherwise on our own. We thank you so much.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you, and God bless.
We are very, very grateful for everything y'all have done for us, and we cannot express that enough.
So thank you. Thank you very much for everything everybody's doing.
I truly think that the most important thing that we can do to honor Micah is to show our support to her family in whatever way they need. They're grieving their daughter, their sister, trying to find purpose after Micah's tragic passing. Micah's Law, of course, will not bring Micah back, but it will help protect others that are fighting a similar battle that Micah went through. And I think it's just one of the best ways that we can honor her, supporting her family and helping to push Micah's Law into action. So definitely continue to share Micah's Law, especially if you live in South Carolina. Continue contacting your local representatives, demand that they listen, demand
Sierra, thank you so much.
accountability, and do not let Micah's Law be dismissed. Again, I'll share the PDF link in the description to this video. It has template letters that you can use to send to your state representatives. That is what we can do to help push this law and make it the reality. And again, if you're able to do so, donations are needed from the family to continue the fight for Micah. So make sure that you visit justiceformicah.com to see where you can donate. I again will make sure to have that link in the description of this video as well. So like I said, it was 5 days ago that the Francis family shared that video thanking the community, trying to rally support for Justice for Micah. And so of course the following day, John Paul made a video on TikTok requesting donations for Micah's Dare to Care missions in Africa. And I just found this video by John Paul extremely manipulative and tasteless. I should know by now.
That's a kind way of saying it. That's a kind way of saying it, because it was crazy as hell. I just keep saying it, like, you're just not that guy anymore. Just not. Even if you had nothing, and right now you did, totally innocent as of right now, totally innocent. No, but like totally innocent of anything, right? Other than being just a not very likable guy at all. And I'm being nice, y'all. But at that point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're just not him anymore. You're not him. Stop. Nobody is gonna be like, oh my goodness. Even, I mean, you could be cleared. I mean, you already are cleared of everything, but like literally it could come out, something totally different happened, and people are still just gonna be like, no, I'm good. You just left, you've left such a sour taste in millions and millions and millions of people's mouths that like, it's just like, you could, like I said the other day, like literally you could be, Jesus himself could come back, the second coming, and want to talk through just you, and nobody would want to listen. Even if it's totally real, 100% Jesus himself, people would still be like, nah, I'm good. That's how horrible you are perceived to be now, just as a person in general. Because you didn't do anything that we know of. Not being looked at for anything that we know of. So, but yeah, just nuts. It's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. All right, YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. We got 10 likes to 100. TikTok, hit the follow button. Tap the screen like crazy. Thank you for the finger hearts. Spiritual Diamond, thank you for the love. You guys are very sweet. Always supporting the show so very much. Y'all check out thehauntedSide.com too if you want to support the show directly. All kinds of ways to. If you like to, you don't have to. These live streams are going to be free for as long as y'all want me to keep doing them. So I appreciate the love, you guys. Let's keep it going.
I shouldn't expect anything better from John Paul.
Hey, y'all. I was just sitting here looking at some pictures and videos, of course, of my wife, and couldn't help but come across all the ones that
ex-wife
have to do with the mission trips that we went on. I'm not a missionary. I don't like missions trips. I'm a teacher. I like to stay home and teach, but she loved the mission trips, and especially when she went to Africa last year. When she came back, I picked her up at the airport, and she was overwhelmed with joy. And she came back. She said she wanted to start a school, a Faith First Academy in Africa. And I said, Micah, you can't do that. I said, that's not possible. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the teachers, the curriculum, the location, the place. We don't have it all. Well, that was kind of a challenge for her. And about a month later, she had the teachers, the location. She even had the lunch lady, someone who was going to bring these children food. And she brought me everything we needed. And she got it down to about $500 a child per year. And then I'm the good guy that's good with financial stuff. And so I was able to get it down to $300.
You what? The guy who's good with what?
How dare you?
$100 for a year for a child to go to school there. And that includes the food that they get. And now we have about 350 children begging and pleading for us to start our school back in August of this year.
And you should step away from it so people actually want to help those kids. You should just wipe your hands clean of all of it. Step the hell away from it so people actually want to help those kids.
Year. And so we are sending a team, and we're praying to God that we have enough of what we need to be able to feed the 300 and something kids, curriculum provided, teachers trained, and everything. We'll send you pictures when it comes out. And if you go to daretocaremissions.com, you'll see our website, and that's where Micah started, of course. And so if you love Micah, you got to love the people of Jabrok, because that was her big thing that she enjoyed so much.
So one, I found it extremely disrespectful that the day after the Francis family made this heartfelt video about needing support and thanking the community for their support, JP would then go on and make his own video requesting donations from the public. Regardless of how, John Paul feels about Micah's family, they're clearly grieving Micah and they're trying to honor her in the best way that they can. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, John Paul is not grieving Micah, or at least in no way does it appear that he's actually grieving her. I mean, I don't know. Have I missed something, you guys? Have you seen any type of grief coming from John Paul? Because I really haven't. And it's clear that the Francis family...
I saw him freaking out about a tattoo and how he was mad that people didn't think it was real. And he was mad that somebody took a picture of him on the beach and showed his gut. And he was all mad. He's like, I would have sucked it in had you told me that you were taking it.
Is
crazy as hell. Thank you, TikTok. Y'all are sweet. Subscribe to the channel too. Click my face and hit that big red subscribe button. Same thing on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. And we got 8 likes to get to 100, y'all. Everybody watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button for me. Let's keep going.
Broken and just trying to pick up the pieces. And so for John Paul to release that video the day after theirs, I don't think that was coincidence or by mistake. So not only did I find that post extremely disrespectful to the family, but I also found it very manipulative. Again, that seems to be a trend with John Paul. He's so manipulative. We saw how JP would hold the missions to Africa over Micah's head because he knew just how important and how much these mission trips meant to Micah, and he knew that this was probably the best way that he could hurt her. And so he would hold these mission trips over her head. We saw it in his email, just how awful he was.
I remember that. Right, Kaylee? Exactly. Where's the 394.5682 pieces of evidence? Okay, I need to chill.
Was towards her in regards to this. So for him to come onto TikTok and use his platform to try and raise money on Micah's behalf for these mission
on her name
trips, and we saw him be so vindictive about them towards her, it's so John Paul. I'm gonna read the email. Beware if you haven't heard this email from John Paul before, it's extremely repulsive to listen to. So the email goes, hey Micah, I hope that you are doing well. I'm ready to be done and move on and heal and find a first lady who won't treat me the way you are. I really hope you do great things. I was willing to do anything. I even had the amazing desire to have kids since you're not on meds. And I want to apologize for the flowers and fruit. It was already paid for to last until your birthday. Feel free to give it all away. I sent that to you before I found out all the things that I have recently found out about you and what you've done, and you disgust me. So please, let's meet soon and be divorced and let this nightmare be over for me. I'm enjoying all the Africa missions, and Pastor Jumba and all of the pastors' wives are so excited for what we're doing. We expect 120 kids our first semester. I have about 10 to 12 people going this time, including Kristen and Tom Winslow and Becca and Jonathan, etc. And I need to move on ASAP. I need a woman who will respect me and love me and be worthy of all that being a first lady is about. Okay, the first lady bit, like, calm down. Can you not tell just how, like, chauvinistic and horrible John Paul was to even deal with? God bless Micah. Seriously, I can only imagine. He knew what to say that would hurt her the most, and so he did use this against her. It was so oddly placed in the email, it didn't even make sense to include it. Clearly, it was just there only to hurt her. So now, why would he be pushing people to donate to the Dare to Care missions in honor of Micah when he was holding this over her head? You know, how incredibly deceptive of him to use Micah's name to try and raise funds on his behalf. And mind you, it was the day after the Francis family reached out to the community for support. So again, I don't think that was by any mistake. I think it was absolutely intentional. Also, not to mention, multiple sources have come forward and said that Pastor Jumba, who is in charge in Africa, has received $0 from John Paul from the money raised for the Dare to Care missions.
Righty Mom, love your channel, Patrick. Thank you. They haven't gotten any of it? At least that's what he says. If so, that would be pretty horrible. Like really horrible.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
So I'm not, I haven't seen like any legal documentation regarding this, but I have seen multiple sources coming forward saying that this is the case. One in particular being Micah's mother. She shared this on her Facebook. Makes you wonder where that money is going and if it's really going to where he says. In Micah's mother's post, it says, "I am Micah's mother. Please, please do not donate anything to the Dare to Care missions. It has been reported that all the funds raised for Kenya thus far have not reached Pastor Jumba there. So hold on to your gifts for now. We are working on making Micah's mission a reality. We just have to do things in order. You can read her story on our family page at www.justiceformicah. Pray and seek God before you do anything. He will guide you. Thank you and amen."
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to donate to something that's going to go to a mission that Micah would have wanted to be a part of, it would 100% go through the Francis family. Like, without question, it would 100% go through the Francis family, and that's that. I mean, right? Thumbs up in the chat if y'all agree. I mean, come on.
And then, of course, she shared these beautiful pictures of Micah, which I have to take a moment just to make sure that I share them as well, because you can just see how much joy these mission trips brought her. Everyone should just take a moment and look at Micah in these pictures. But yeah, so, we've also heard rumors that the FBI is investigating John Paul and Solid Rock Church. And I have to wonder if it's in relation to the funds raised for this, or just in general, if it's in relation to money and where money is going. That's all speculation. I don't have any, again, legal documentation of this. I will be interested to see if it comes out further down the road, but we have heard that the FBI is investigating him and his church. So I do wonder if it's about finances. And then also I wanted to just briefly touch on a few posts that were shared on the True Crime TikTok recently, because I found these extremely distasteful as well. There have been some screenshots that she shared trying to put, some of the blame on Micah's family. In particular, I feel like Micah's father for her death, and I don't understand the motive. So this first screenshot is allegedly a message from John Paul to Micah's father, Michael Francis, and in the message, it's JP sending a mental health appointment reminder for Micah. And Michael responds with, "Oh, okay, say I would appreciate it if you stopped texting me." And then in the TikTok caption of this image here, it says, "Just why?" ? And so I definitely get what's being implied here on this TikTok post. Like, Micah's father was disregarding Micah's mental health by telling JP to stop texting him. And I just do not see it that way at all. One, did these reminders not also go to Micah? I would assume that they probably already knew about this appointment. And JP was just trying to, continue injecting himself into Micah's life. And then two, I'm trying to put myself in Michael's shoes. And if my daughter was trying to leave an abusive relationship and this abuser was actually texting me about her doctor's appointments, I probably would respond the same way. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have been even as nice as he was. This message here,
right?
It in no way implies that they were not trying to, manage Micah's mental health. It's just that she was an adult who did not want her estranged and abusive husband interfering in her life. That's what I take from this. And again,
has it been like for sure proven yet that the True Crime RI is JP? Because I know like that's like overwhelmingly popular belief right now that it's just him. Has that been proven? Is that not? Has that person come forward yet? Because I know people were calling him out for like having like a stock picture and like doing things like this, writing in the style of JP is what I've heard and everything like that. Y'all let me know. I have no idea. I've heard that a lot. So let's keep going, shall we? YouTube, thumbs up button. Let's get 200 likes. TikTok, hit the follow button. Tap the screen like crazy. 25,000 likes. We're almost there. Thanks for the little bears, too. Appreciate it. And come over to the Mystery Project on YouTube if you want to watch the video along with us. You can actually see the videos that we're watching that I can't show you on TikTok. They won't let me play it on TikTok, but you can watch it on YouTube. Just search the Mystery Project. And the best part, after the live stream ends, it lives on YouTube, so you can rewatch it If you missed it, if you came in halfway through, you can rewatch everything on YouTube. Just search The Mystery Project and subscribe. You guys ready? Let's keep it going. Thumbs up, YouTube. Let's go. 107. Let's get 150.
And, if JP was legitimately concerned with Micah's mental health, you would think that he wouldn't harass her or share topless photos of her or, text her sister that he's, quote, armed and ready when Micah wouldn't return back to him. That really just doesn't sound like somebody
Sierra, thank you so much.
That was concerned for a person's, mental health. And again, I don't see Michael disregarding the idea of helping Micah with her mental health. I take it as Michael didn't want to hear from JP, which totally understandable. And then the next series of texts that were shared on this TikTok are the following. So the first here is a text message from Micah. And it reads, John Paul asked me to text you all just so we are all on the same page. I have decided to slowly taper off bipolar meds without telling my doctor and against John Paul's wishes. I would appreciate if you could regularly call me anytime just to check on me and for support. I have made other adjustments to help with the transition, such as no alcohol, no caffeine after 2 p.m., regular sauna and ice baths, much cleaner diet, and cutting out friends who are negative and add stress to my mind. I love y'all, and I hope this doesn't stress anybody out. That's not my intention. And then her sister responded, well, I definitely want you to be safe about it, sis. I want to support you, but also maybe if you are gonna not have a doctor's supervision, maybe try to find a holistic doctor. There are definitely natural ways to battle dang near everything, and I'm not 100% convinced it wasn't. And then conveniently the text message is cut off, so we don't even get the whole picture there. But honestly, when I read this text message, I felt like the wording was almost like a little forced from Micah. I don't know, like I kind of wondered if it was actually JP that typed this up. We do know that, John Paul allegedly took Micah's phone, but maybe not. Maybe it was Micah. Regardless, I think her sister's response was very supportive and only really encouraged Micah to seek professional guidance if she was going to, attempt tapering off these medications. And then this second message here that was shared is like a group text where Micah again says, I told one of y'all already that I was tapering off, but I don't remember who. And then her sisters kind of chimed in and said, you told all of us basically. And so again, it just sounded like supportive family members. Again, they said, as long as you're happy and healthy, nothing out of the ordinary or stood out to me there. And then this final message here, and before I read it, I should mention that the caption for this on TikTok was, quote, very questionable advice from dad to use THC products and then taper off of or deviate from prescribed medication plan. So that's what the caption for the actual message says on TikTok.
That's a whole lot of people that don't like doing that kind of stuff. There's people that don't take Advils because they're like, oh, hell no. I ain't putting that crap inside of me.
And then the actual message reads this. It starts midway through the text, so we don't even get the whole picture again, but this is supposed
Thank you, Nurse KK.
to be from Micah's father. He says, quote, you may find half or a quarter of the dose to be best. I suggest extreme caution concerning THC products, flower. It only takes a little too much to really have adverse effects while on another medication, etc. Like Destiny was saying, it would be really good if you had some kind of holistic plan, which may include someone that you can be accountable to for how things are going. And then Micah responded, I've decided to wait until after the holidays to do anything so that I don't go through any withdrawals and ruin another Christmas. But many prayers, please. As of now, I feel great, so thank you for all the wisdom. And then her dad responded, great thinking. So I don't understand why the caption says what it says. I don't understand what they are trying to imply, because in no way do I interpret this text messaging correspondence as, a father encouraging their daughter to do THC in any forms or deviate from her meds. To me, it just sounds like a concerned father offering, cautious advice. I mean, he literally says, I suggest extreme caution. I mean, yes, I know that the text message technically starts off with him saying, cutting a dose into half or to a quarter. But to me, this is just realistic. This is just real advice. If she was going to try something like an edible or some kind of other product that had THC, she's an adult, or she was an adult, and she could make those decisions. It's
Nurse KK, thank you.
Legal. I honestly don't know offhand the South Carolina laws. Where I'm from here in Michigan, it's legal.
I doubt it in South Carolina.
Regardless, if she was going to do it, she was an adult. She could make that decision. So he was really just trying to tell her to heed caution. I don't see at all how this is him, advising her to do THC and deviate from her medications. I think that's a very inaccurate representation of what it looks like was actually happening in this texting. So yeah, at the end of this, really what I'm saying is all I see is a concerned
Yeah, they don't have anything. Not even for medicinal.
father that is trying to talk to his daughter and give her advice. And so I just thought that these posts on TikTok were just extremely tasteless and trying to paint Michael, the father, in a bad light when I think that was far from the truth. When Micah was here on this earth with us, she was basically screaming for help and that she needed protection. And it wasn't to be saved from her family or her father or any of those parties. It was specifically one party. She was asking to be saved from John Paul's abuse. So we don't have to speculate on who was the abuser towards Micah. We know it was John Paul. We heard it directly from Micah and from her mouth. And we've seen multiple.
And he admitted to things also. He admitted to it in that email.
Legal reports made by her to the police authorities. We just never saw any justice, or she never saw any justice. And so for anyone to try and spin the narrative that it was like Micah's father to blame or Micah's family to blame, it's obviously false. And it's also cruel, in my opinion. All we need to do is look to Micah. Micah was telling everybody, not subtly. She was very clear in that her abuser was John Paul.
God hates divorce. But why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that?
Again, I'm not blaming him for the specific unaliving event because I don't have the facts there to do so. I can see why people speculate, but that's not even ever been my intent. But I do believe that he abused her and terrorized her and stalked and harassed. And I think that Micah was crying out for help, and I don't think she ever got justice. And it's sickening that he never was held accountable for this. And so back to the True Crime Re TikTok. I've gone back and forth on whether I think that the True Crime Re and John Paul are affiliated. I don't think that it is John Paul by any means. I think it is a separate party. But after what we've seen recently on her,
well, they have to be affiliated in some way. That's how that person is getting all that screenshots and information and those videos and everything. But is it somebody that's team JP?
TikTok, I definitely do.
That's the question.
Believe that they are affiliated. I think that it is someone that is probably close to John Paul and giving him a platform. Yeah. I come back to, what did Micah say? Micah said that John Paul was her abuser, and we have proof of it. So I will believe Micah over any other parties ever. I know she's not here to defend herself on this earth, but we have evidence. So we don't ever have to wonder. We know who the culprit was. All that to say, I personally am not trusting of the TikTok account that JP is using for his platform. I do
that part. Oh, thanks, y'all. We hit that goal. Thank you very much. Spirits of Diamonds, so sweet.
Believe again that they are separate people, but I just think that this TikTok user, True Crime Re, is somehow in John Paul's corner. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. I've seen some different opinions. I still stand by what I've said in the past, and that I do think it's helpful to give JP a space to talk, because any just trial does need to hear both sides. And in a sense, John Paul is on trial with the public, so to speak. And so I think it is helpful that he has a platform that he can share his thoughts, even though they can be very, very frustrating to listen to, but I do think there is purpose in having him have this platform. What I would like to hear from John Paul, I don't know that he'll ever do it, but what I would like to hear from him is I would like him to take some accountability. I'd like to hear him take any responsibility for the wrongs that he had done towards Micah and how he mistreated Micah. I have literally never heard any type of humility or accountability come out of his mouth. He gets all these opportunities to talk and carry on, and he chooses the most irrelevant topics really to talk about. I want to hear accountability from John Paul. And
I highly doubt that would ever happen.
I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of us want to hear him take some responsibility in how he mistreated her. But I don't think we should hold our breath, because I have little faith in him doing so. The justice system too. It'd be great if the justice system would hold him accountable. But again, I don't have much faith in them either. And that in itself is absolutely frustrating as well. But the more that I hear in regards to the police departments that are associated with this, such as the Robeson County Police Department, the connections that John Paul has, the less faith that I have that the authorities will do the right thing and honor Micah and help bring justice for her.
Damn. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth in that, it seems. Damn. Well, let's keep going. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. We got almost 200 people watching. Let's get 200 likes. TikTok, same thing. Hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. Let's get 50,000 likes. Thank you for the little gnome things, the gnome guys. Very much appreciated. And let's go. Let's keep going.
Continuous coverage of the Micah.
Oh, this is JLR. Y'all make sure you give him a subscribe too if you haven't subscribed to him already.
Francis.
Everybody is pinned down in the description of the YouTube channel. Let's keep it going.
John Paul Miller case. Is the pastor John Paul Miller scamming people for money? That is the topic of this discussion.
Whoa.
This segment. We've been on the Micah Miller case since its beginning. Terrible tragedy. Micah Miller, she likes to be called Micah Francis. I got to get it out of the habit of calling her Micah Miller. Tragically lost her life at the end of April 2024. And since this has happened, this tragedy, a lot of controversy and exposure on this guy right here. And things are not coincidental, ladies and gentlemen. And I've always said that John Paul Miller is a reactionary pastor, and he reacts and does things based off what is presented in front of him. He's not doing too well right now because he's under federal investigation. He's being sued. He's being exposed. His behaviors are coming out to light. In return, he reacts by releasing occasional videos out on TikTok. We should call him the TikTok pastor. But there's some fishy things going on the last couple days, folks, that we need to talk about. And I'm going to get Magnolia in the chat. Some fishy financial things going on. He is soliciting money from people. The last two videos that were released, he's trying to claim that he's going to raise funds for the Dare to Care mission. But we find the timing, me and Magnolia, and we've been digging in deep on this. Also, folks, apparently he's involved with some pay-per-view content. Apparently, if you pay, you can view things centered around him. So he's trying to scheme and make money. Particularly, he's been escalating this solicitation of funds for the last couple days. Why? But I think
Why?
and Magnolia has been figuring it out. Magnolia has a lot of sources on the ground. And it's interesting, folks. It's interesting. Regina Ward, the attorney for the Francis family, filed some recent filings. And it's a terminology that I had to actually look up. It's called a lis pendens. Lis pendens. And what she's doing is seeking the assets. She's seeking the assets of property belonging to Solid Rock. She's seeking the property, more or less. Solid Rock Church's Howard Avenue address and multiple other properties where they plan to build a church on one big one right, across the street from the development where the pastor lives. But that's not all, folks. That's not all. At the same time, Regina Ward serves an individual that is under federal investigation with this guy, serves him some legal papers. And this date happened on July 8th, 2024. Who got served legal papers? I'll show you who got served legal papers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tom Winslow. Tom Winslow. The AI guy, right? They call him. The attorney. The one that people say he's really tied in with J.P. Miller. There has
If you don't know much about this guy, y'all, I literally did a video last night. It was an Agatha May video that we watched talking about him and the sprinkler guy and the other dude that's like the realtor. No, it's not the realtor, it's the other guy. Which one was it? Oh, which one was it? Wasn't the realtor, it was like the other piano guy, the other pianist, if you will. Yeah, go watch that one. That one's up on the channel as well. TikTok, hit the follow button too. Tap the screen like crazy. Come over to YouTube if you want to watch and like actually see the videos with us. Search The Mystery Project on YouTube. You'll find the channel, subscribe. And YouTube, we got almost 200 people watching. Let's get 200 likes. Everybody watching, hit that thumbs up button real quick. Let's go for it.
There's been articles out there saying that this particular guy and John Paul Miller are under investigation. What type of investigation? Federal investigation. Federal investigation. And we actually been talking about that. I'll just show you an example. Myrtle Beach News reports back in May that Miller and Tom Winslow of Winslow Law Firm are persons of interest by the FBI over issues surrounding monies collected for Miller's African mission, Dare to Care. And that's what we're going to talk about here, Dare to Care, because coincidentally, folks, ladies and gentlemen, stay with me here. Stay with me. Coincidentally, the day Tom Winslow gets served by Regina Ward, July 8th, he makes two in the last few days, the last 5 days. This is 5 days ago, Winslow gets served.
Videos soliciting funds. Oh, Lord.
He makes 2 videos and gets these videos posted online, and he's saying, oh, we're trying to raise money for MICA'S Dare to Care mission. For $300, you can help support a kid in Africa. My. Do you see what's going on here, folks? They were caught red-handed, I believe. Winslow, J.P. Miller, and probably Trisha Ross, because Trisha Ross, coincidentally, also just made her Facebook profile private. Well, Winslow gets served by Regina Ward on the 8th. Reactionary pastor John Paul Miller then starts putting out a video. This is what he put out the same day Winslow gets served a part of this lawsuit. The very same day. Remember this video? We played this.
Angel with a bow, aren't you tired of this case? Not at all. I have no problem talking about a case until I feel like justice has truly been served for the victim in the case. So tired of it? Absolutely not, because there's so much more to discover. There's so much more to find out. And too often when things like this happen, people lose their interest in it, and we all suffer from it. It's just an overload of information constantly that something crazy could happen, and then we all forget about it within a week, like a news cycle. We're like, oh, what did that happen? You know? And this one specifically, this story, I don't think needs to fade into, obscurity again. So yeah, definitely not tired of it. No. Yeah. And that's a good point, Andrea. Yeah. Micah dealt with it for how many years? So, I mean, it's been what, almost a month and a half, almost 2 months. No, that's nothing. That's nothing. I'll cover it for 5 years if I have to, 10 years. No, I'll keep doing it until justice for Micah is truly served. I mean, regardless of who it is, right? Because right now, we don't know. We don't know. If y'all agree, thumbs up in the chat. Let's go.
The other day.
Hey, y'all. I was just sitting here looking at some pictures and videos, of course, of my wife, and couldn't help but come across all the ones that have to do with the mission trips that we went on. I'm not a missionary. I don't like mission trips. I'm a teacher. I like to stay home and teach.
Thank you, Sarah.
But she loved the mission trips, and especially when she went to Africa last year. When she came back, I picked her up at the airport, and she was overwhelmed with joy. And she came back. She said she wanted to start a school, a Faith First Academy in Africa. And I said, Micah, you can't do that. I said, that's not possible. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the teachers, the curriculum, the location, the place. We don't have it all. Well, that was kind of a challenge for her. And so for the next month, and the way when you communicate with Africa, they're in a completely different time, of course. And so when you send them a message, you don't get a response the next day, and then you send it, and then the next day. And about a month later, She brought me a notebook. She had the teachers, the location. She even had the lunch lady, someone who was going to bring these children food. And she brought me everything we needed. And she got it down to about $500 a child per year. And then I'm the good guy that's good with financial stuff. And so I was able to get it down.
Every time he says that, I just go,
You what? To $300 for a year for a child to go to school there. And
okay, good to see you.
that includes the food that they get each day. And so we sent a team at the beginning of this year, and we were expecting about 75, maybe 80 kids. The first day we had 150. By the end of the week, we had 300. And now we have about 350 children begging and pleading for us to start our school back in August of this year. And so, in honor of Micah, we're doing it. It's her mission. She came up with it. She started it. She did all the work. She prepared the way. She laid the foundation. And so we are sending a team.
Yes, you did all that, and you said that it wasn't possible. And now you're like, actually, it is possible. Send me $300. Yay!
How dare you?
You literally just said you don't like doing it, and you told her it wasn't possible. And in the same breath, you're saying, but I went ahead and worked it out to where it is possible as long as you send me $300 a person. Mm-hmm.
And we're praying to God that we have enough of what we need to be able to feed the 300 and something kids curriculum.
And how did it go from we're expecting 70 to 80 or whatever it was to 300 kids in 47 seconds as well? You got a hell of a lot of signups in that 14 and a half seconds.
Provided teachers trained and everything, and we're really, really excited. So that's something we have to look forward to. We'll send you pictures when we start, when it comes out. And if you go to dare2caremissions.com, you'll see our website, and that's where Micah started, of course. And so if you love Micah, you got to love the people of Jabbrock, because that was her big thing that she enjoyed so much.
The same day he made this, Winslow gets served. The very same day. So my take is, Winslow got right up in his face and said, dude, what are you getting me involved with, bro? Fix it. Fix it. We're under investigation for Dare to Care about not distributing the money before to Pastor Jumba and all the money solicited before. Now I'm being served legal papers, and here it is. Look, the same day that video was posted, July 8th, 2023, proof of service, Regina Ward, service on Winslow Law Firm. Winslow Law Firm, the same day he releases that video. Hours later, actually. And it's interesting because he also made a follow-up video. And this was posted on Justin from TikTok. Justin for TikTok posted another recent video. And once again, folks, I'm going to get it right here. He's soliciting money. He just posted this July 10th. So 2 days. 2 days after Winslow was served.
You know, with everything going on and people hurting, I guess is a good word, or abusing those that stand up for what my wife loves so much, her mission, her church, you know, we were going to have to tell children no, that we can't feed all of them that were coming in to Jabbrock to where.
Then step away from it. Stop putting your face on that stuff. Or here you go. The kids in this town and the pastors and all this stuff, you genuinely care about them? Okay. All right. Tell them, make a video that says, go through the Francis family. Recuse yourself and say, obviously, I've said and done some crazy things. Oh, wait, this would mean you would have to take accountability. In a perfect world, you say, hang on, TikTok saying, prove that I'm really a person. In a perfect world, you say, hey, I've said and done some crazy things. I actually, for once, want to say and do something correct, righteous, something that is good for other people. So I'm going to step back from handling any of this stuff, and I want everybody to go through the Francis family to donate to the Dare to Care mission or whatever, or their things. That's what you do. You just say that. If these kids really mean something to you, you take a step back because of everything that's happening, and you say, obviously, I'm liquid magma hot right now, you know, so I'm going to take a step back, and y'all, please help these kids going through this channel that I have absolutely nothing to do with. Call me crazy. Right? I wonder if that video is going to come out. Y'all think that video is ever going to see the light of day? Who knows? Who knows? And these are all my opinions anyways, y'all. God, maybe there are people donating. And if it's really going to the kids, I hope that they are, and I hope that it is going to find its way to these children. But insane. YouTube, let's get 200 likes. Come on, that was a good rant right there. We need about 33 more likes, 43 more likes. Come on, y'all. Everybody watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. TikTok, hit the follow button. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm live every single night. We do these true crime little live stream podcast things. So come on in, hit the follow button. We're live on YouTube as well. Search the Mystery Project. We're going to watch the video with us. And let's get 50,000 likes, y'all. Thanks for the little gnome dude, too. We're about 50 away from that. Thanks for doing the TikTok, playing the TikTok game, because they don't care about pretty much anything other than that. So I appreciate y'all. Let's keep going.
Our school is, but people are stepping up. And so if you'd like to sponsor a child, it's $300 a child. That covers their food, their curriculum. It covers them having clothes, a shirt for the year. And we're sending a team in a few weeks to train some teachers. School starts in August. And if you would like to go, we would love for you to go. If you'd like to go check it out and spend a week, most of these children are orphans. A lot of them are HIV positive. But they are so excited to have us there. I mean, they love every single minute of it. You know, it'll be a life-changing event for you. If you'd like to go, it's about $3,000 a person. That covers your flights, your room, your board, your hotel, your food, all that kind of stuff. But during the day when you're at school, it's not like America, so be ready. I also want to thank the churches that are stepping up. Dominion TV Network and a lot of other churches in the area who are helping to pay for Robert's defense fund for putting water in the face of someone who took a shower that day and lives at the ocean, at the beach, and probably has a pool in their neighborhood. But anyway, and so I want to thank all the Christians that are stepping up.
Man, you crazy as hell for saying it like that. By the way, flights to Kenya, $400. Flights to Kenya, 400 bones. Round trip.
Realizing what's going on, so thank you guys so much, and God bless you. Have a good day.
There's also pressure on him to pay the legal fee.
And I doubt you're going to be staying at the Waldorf Astoria or something like that. Lord have mercy.
Robert Luschel, the sprinkler boy, we call him AKA Sprinkler Boy. But you see what he's doing here? You see what he's doing here? Now he's trying to use children to win the hearts of people, to donate to something that should have, these children on Micah's Dare to Care mission that she created should have got the money months and months ago. They never received the money. But now all of a sudden, when he's embroiled in a federal investigation, him and Winslow getting served, and now Regina Ward seeking the property assets of the churches. Now suddenly, oh, we got to help the kids in honor of Micah. No, he's trying to scheme again.
Yeah, that part's crazy as hell. Mama, for Christ, thank you so much.
Or even he might be legitimately now after the fact, because he knows the gig is up and he's in big trouble for not paying it out before because they pocketed the money before. So now after the fact, he's trying to raise money so he can give it to say, look, law enforcement, we raised the money here. Look, please don't charge me. Look, this is good. He's scheming. He's scheming, and he's basically trying to cover up his mishaps in the past. Let's get Magnolia for her take on this situation. This is wild, folks. And then Trisha Ross, I'll show you her account. She suddenly just went.
Oh yeah, T. Ross, man. She went whoop. Oh, I'm about to pull a Phantom of the Opera, cover half my face, and disappear into some old ass rickety theater. Yo, I drank that whole ass rock star. I'm feeling crazy as hell. I'm gonna say some crazy shit right now.
And I'm going to show you the article about Regina Ward, by the way, too. JP Miller, we know what's up. Hi, Magnolia. How are you? So, Magnolia, what's your take on this latest, solicitation of funds that JP Miller's doing? I know that you speak, and then also speak a little bit about the, he's trying to do some pay-per-view now. What's going on here?
Yeah, we heard earlier this week, I was told several days ago that Tom Winslow was served, but we haven't been able to actually get those documents, but we were able to confirm that that's true. If you go to the court docket, you can see that Regina Ward served Tom Winslow on the 8th. So, yeah, it's just very interesting that we've known that Tom Winslow and JP are part of this investigation that's ongoing with the FBI. And one of the things specifically that they're looking at is the Dare to Care money and the $12,000 that never went to Pastor Jumba or the kids.
Holy hell, it's $12,000? I didn't realize it was that much money. No.
Never saw a dime of it. So I think you're right that something must be happening. Things must be heating up. Because you also noticed that Trisha Ross has privated her Facebook account again. So, yeah, Texas Pac just said Trisha Ross is probably very scared right now. So she's privated her Facebook. So we know that they were all involved in this Dare to Care mission, raising the money. The pastor told Micah's family that they never received the money. And actually, I believe that Pastor Jumba was told that Micah stole the money. And that had to be cleared up after her death. So, yeah, the timing's very interesting. And then we also saw today, this morning, Robbie Harvey put out a post about
Here, I'll show that. Hold on, I'll spin it around so people can and explain a little bit about what this is here that we're seeing.
Yeah, so he posted that there's a JP interview dropping today, and apparently you have to pay for it. So now John Paul has moved on to pay-per-view at this point. I guess TikTok wasn't enough, so now we're doing pay-per-view TikTok. For $2.69, you can watch the interview.
That's crazy.
So he's charging money for this. So I think that a lot of people are kind of looking at these actions from him this week.
Which account was it? The True Crime account that he was doing that for? Where was that going? Like, where did that $2.69 or whatever, where did it go to? And then how was that being, dispersed is what I would want to know.
On a very...
Yeah, that's right. So Flo was like, I'm going to do this thing, but you got to pay to see it on TikTok. Oh, man. Uh-oh. That probably pissed a lot of people off. Ooh. What did he give money? I guess nobody would know except him and JP. I wonder if he gave money to JP from that. Oh, damn. That's crazy. All right, let's keep going.
Surface level, which is he's trying to get money because the congregation has left, so all the tithing has dried up, and he's low on money. He's got a lot of legal battles coming. And I think that that's probably part of it. Raising the money, trying to raise money for Dare to Care, drumming up donations, and now we have this pay-per-view interview. So part of this could be motivated by him feeling like he needs to raise money, or he's got himself in a bind here financially, and so it could be partly that. So maybe he feels like if he's drumming up donations for Dare to Care, he's killing two birds with one stone by legitimizing Dare to Care, trying to make it look legitimate, and at the same time bringing in money for the church, because we already know he collected $300 a kid before from the church people and other people in the community. We also know about the the chili dinner, or what was that dinner they were supposed to have? There was a church dinner they were supposed to have.
Well, I want some chili right now. Damn.
Where they raised money for Dare to Care, and that dinner never even happened. So we know about all these little schemes that they've done in the...
Damn, he charged people for a spaghetti dinner or something that didn't even happen. He's like, I better spaghetti on out of here.
Money never went to the actual children.
He's, I'm going to collect that garlic bread and spaghetti my butt right on out of here. Damn.
So I don't know how he thinks that anyone's going to fall for this at this late stage, but...
Particularly using Micah's name, too, in all this. Like, he's using Micah's name to solicit funds. Yeah,
he's like, this was important to Micah and her legacy and all this kind of stuff. We kind of said, I said recently that I thought a better approach for him, aside from constantly blaming Micah's family or, bad-mouthing everybody, I thought a better strategy for him might be to actually celebrate her life and the work that she did. But I didn't mean like this. I didn't mean raise money in her name. that really wasn't what we were talking about. But that's what he's doing. So
it's been amplified, though. Listen, it's been amplified in the last 5 days about the desperation to raise money for Dare to Care, probably because the feds are breathing on their necks, and he has to produce that he showed evidence that the money that they solicited in the past maybe had to go towards, went towards Dare to Care. But then at the same time, Winslow gets served. So Winslow is now legally dragged into this issue. We don't know what to the extent, but I could assume based off, we'll try to get our sources or get the paperwork to see exactly what it is.
Has he started selling stuff? Because I know, like, they were saying that, like, the majority of, like, the church's assets, everything, are property and the buildings and things like that. But has he just started being like, shit, I don't need this iPad anymore. This giant ass Spider-Man might get put up on Facebook Marketplace. Has that kind of stuff started happening yet? Are they selling cars and stuff yet?
But the point is, he's drawn into this lawsuit now where Regina Ward is trying to seek assets affiliated with him, Solid Rock Church property assets, right? And you got Robert Luschel, who was a church member who assaulted a group of 5 people, right? He retained the lawyer of Russell B. Long, which is his family attorney or his attorney that he's been using that's been sending out the cease and desist. Now, Rochelle is probably, breathing down his neck saying, I'm on you. I did this for you. I'm at your church. You're paying my legal fees. You got Trisha Ross under investigation, too. So it's just a world of things centered around him where it's money. Protesters continue to put pressure outside that church on a weekly basis. Less people are showing up, less tithing, I would assume, less money. So what do you do now? You start finding other ways to try to produce money.
Well, yeah, and it's wild that he actually at the end of that video brought up Robert Luschel and his water incident, and he really made light of it and mocked the protesters that got sprayed.
Assaulted.
Said, oh, well, I'm sure they had a shower that day, and I'm sure they go to the beach and they have a pool in their neighborhood. But anyway, he's acting like it's not a big deal that this guy went up and sprayed a sprinkler right in these people's.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's just water, dude. It's still assault. Like I keep saying, go to Taco Bell, order a cup of water, take the lid off, and throw it in the person that gave it to you's face and see what happens. Well, it's just water. Shit. Man, you crazy as hell for that. The iceberg that took down the Titanic, that was water. That was frozen water. I don't know why my brain went there, but that has to make sense to somebody.
Spaces.
On church property.
He's mocking it and making light of it, and then saying we need to have a defense fund for this guy.
So he's crowdsourcing, and then he also, in the course of that, notice he's like, oh, well, other churches have been chipping in and helping. Like, he always tries to make it look like people have been helping, to solicit more money by saying, people have already donated. You too can help too. Help us. You know what I mean? That's his scheme. We pretty much understand his MO here, what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he's like, oh, look, these other churches donated, so that means we're legitimate and you should donate too. But yeah, I don't really see many people falling for that. I'm interested to see if anyone actually pays for his interview. I don't know when it's coming out, but
and what does he plan to do with the money for these interviews? Is it known? $269.
Well,
per person.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that he needs the money, because I've said this before. A lot of people make a big deal about the fact that he has quote unquote $5.9 million in assets. But guess what? That money's not liquid. It's tied up in that real estate. The real estate, in fact, that Regina Ward just filed a lis pendens on.
He can't do anything with it.
These properties. So what that means, just for people to understand, so the legal filing this week by the estate, by Micah Miller's attorney in the marital property case, is a lis pendens, and it's basically against 3 properties that are in the church's name, aka John Paul's name, because remember, the church and John Paul are one and the same. So you have the property at Market Commons that is valued, I believe they said
$2 million.
A couple $1 million. The property over there, the new land, was worth like $3.5 million. So when you add these numbers up, that's where you get this quote unquote $5.9 million in assets. It's all tied up in these properties.
Which
so,
really,
anyway,
in reality, it's nice to see CJ's Crime Concepts. Check him out, because CJ's out there, boots on the ground regularly. I'm assuming, CJ, you'll be out there tomorrow at the protest. But he said a lien. It's basically, they got a lien on these properties right now.
Well, it's not a lien. It's a hold. It's essentially a hold on. it puts a hold on those properties, and it prevents JP or the church from being able to sell them or do anything with them while this case is pending in anticipation of a lien later on or a judgment. More specifically, a judgment. So it's going to hold those properties where he can't do anything, because remember, they're trying to fight for Micah's part of the marital estate, and
which she's entitled to. She worked at the church.
Right. Well, she's married to him. She was with him from the start of this church, because remember, after his whole ordeal with Allison, literally the entire church left, and Micah was with him as they rebuilt this church up to 700 people again. So she's entitled to some sort of marital property, and that'll be for the courts to decide. So it's basically like this Liz Pendens is putting a hold on those assets so that he can't do anything or liquidate it to get money in another type of way. So this was filed on July 8th. So what that did was it essentially froze his assets, because those properties are his assets. So now he's in a situation where he's stuck. His whole church left. There's no money coming in anymore. So what's he going to do? Well, I guess we can just pretend like Dare to Care is legitimate for a while and try to get some money that way.
Crazy.
Then he came up with this idea about the pay-per-view, which is somebody, Debbie in the chat said, I don't know who Flo is, but Debbie in the chat said, Flo said yesterday on his live TikTok that he wanted to get 200 subscribers to his channel. The $269 fee is supposedly going to Flo and his son. Flo said JP Miller isn't getting any money. I don't know who Flo is. I guess that's the channel it's supposed to be on. And they're claiming that he's not getting any of this money, but
it benefits him in many ways.
That sounds completely ridiculous to me, because no one's going to do an interview with somebody that's pay-per-view and not get anything out of it, especially not JP Miller. There's no way he's doing some interview with a random person who's going to get paid for it without him seeing a dime.
Considering what he's been going through right now, he doesn't. I mean, look at everything he's going through. He's not just going to do it for free or just for his free will. There's a scheme, there's a motive for this, and it's financial for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it could be also testing the water, seeing how this works out. Maybe if it works out, he can do it again, and maybe he can make it a regular thing, or so we'll have to see if there's any interest in this interview.
With this
Liz, how that goes for him.
With this Liz Pendens, now that it's on the church property, he can't even take any loans out, can he?
No, I don't believe so. Anything that would have to do with that title, it pretty much puts a hold on anything. So to do even a refinance, to do a cash out, like an equity line of credit or anything like that, that's going to have to go through the title company, and all that stuff's going to come up on the title, and so I wouldn't think that he'd be able to really do anything. So just people should understand his assets are in those properties. Those are his assets. So those assets now are essentially frozen. Yeah. So Butterfly, the church property in Market Common is worth $2 million. The land over there, the new land, is worth $3.5 million. So you add those up, that's $5.5 million right there. So that's his assets. He's not liquid, y'all. He's not liquid. He's just not. So this whole idea of people saying, oh, he has all this money and he can pay all these attorneys and he's this and that, that is just simply not the case. Yeah, he's not liquid at all.
I'm looking, and thank you for the gifted membership, Devil Dog. Nice to see you. Appreciate that. Devil Dog gifted a membership. Yeah, I'm looking at the Liz Pendens. There's actually a court filing here, and it got a lot of addresses on there, but yeah, it seems like it's the properties. I was looking to see if the plane could be listed on there too. Is it possible to put the plane on there? And do they
Jason, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the plane. Didn't we see it was registered to Solid Rock Ministries, but it was purchased by Mark Kaufman?
Possibly, yeah. I'll have to read. I don't know that offhand.
Yeah, so Robin said, what about the money from the bar? Yeah, so Robin, the money from the bar is going to be probably his.
Supposedly, he didn't even have ownership in that bar, y'all. Like, that can't be found anywhere. Remember, we saw that. Like, it just wasn't, like, there was no legal filing that he had any of that. Remember? That's crazy.
Main liquid assets, simply because we know Micah Micah disclosed to certain people that JP would bring home bags of cash once a week from the bar. So his income that came out of that bar was predominantly cash. So that's going to probably be the money that he would have, quote unquote, liquid. But then again, that is being investigated as well, because it looks like this is a situation of money laundering. So he's not going to be able to keep doing that. He's not going to be able to keep running in and out of Crocodile Rocks with bags of cash while he's under investigation by the FBI. So he's got a lot of pressure on him from all angles. And I guess he's just trying to figure out a way to keep his head above water, and drumming up donations in Micah's name for the children in Africa, I guess, is as good a way of any to do that. But, because it's very hard to criticize someone who's raising money for children.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. He said HIV children too. Like he's
it's
trying
it's very much, it's very Alinsky. It's like you can't really say anything bad about raising money for children in Africa. So I guess he thinks that helps him, almost like a shield. That's like his shield of criticism. Oh, it's for the poor HIV children in Africa. But we heard all that before, and we know the poor children in Africa never got the money.
None.
So,
and the picture I was showing earlier was here's Pastor Jumba. He was at the Solid Rock Church a few weeks before Micah's death, right? He came from Africa and he visited Micah, but Micah didn't go on that Africa trip. But Jumba was there at the church with JP Miller, and then they went to that Dare to Care. But Jumba ended up getting nothing. That's what we're told. Nothing in reference.
That's crazy as hell.
To Dare to Care. He didn't get nothing. I'm gonna show a picture of him and with Micah.
Yeah, but it's just to reiterate, not only did he not get the money, but he was given the impression that Micah stole the money. So and her family had spoke with him after all this happened, and they had asked him about that money, or he asked them about the money, because he was under the impression that Micah stole the money, because that's what he was being fed. And other people who went on that trip spoke to Pastor Jumba as well, and he said that he never got any of that money. So, we already know that. But here's the thing. There's going to be an audience of people out there that don't know all these details, and who will see JP's plea for money for the children in Africa, and they will actually donate.
Yeah,
because it's children in Africa. So there are people that will donate. It's just, who knows how many will donate. But
to me, it's like I believe it's also ties into not paying before, and he's basically like almost like a Ponzi at this point. He's going to solicit money from people forward to pay back, from before. You know what I mean? Because he didn't pay it back before, or to show the FBI, because he is under investigation. Hey, I did raise money for Dare to Care. Here it is. Here's the receipts. We are involved. We need some money our way for overhead costs, because according to charitable rules and whatnot, you can
Miranda, howdy, ma'am.
Solicit money, and some of it can go for
Crocs in the house too. Good to see you, man.
Your operating costs,
Yes.
instead for the actual cause itself. So,
Well, and that's what makes these nonprofits so ripe for abuse, because if you look at nonprofits, generally speaking, the majority of the money actually goes to salaries and
overhead
expenses.
costs and administration costs and everything
and
like that.
Something like 10% goes to the actual cause, But yeah, it's like 501c3s were made for people like JP.
Yeah, exactly. And he's definitely a showman and knows how to exploit that and try to solicit the pitch. Now, instead of doing it to the congregation, which is losing lots of people, now he's trying to put that pitch online on social media via TikTok. He's trying to get more eyeballs than what he would have in the Solid Rock Church.
Yeah. And Anna Michael said she thinks JP was jealous of Micah. And I can see that. I actually can see that. And I understand how he could have felt some sort of competition against her or with her. And even now, after she's died, he's in a situation where the whole world loves Micah and everyone's against him. So I'm sure that irritates him to a very high degree, but it's just reality, and it's just the way it is.
Stick with me, Magnolia. I'm going to spin the camera around, show people Trisha Ross at the same time of what this is going on. Trisha Ross, and this is her account. She's always never had a profile picture, but she's made her Facebook profile private, and you can't even go past a couple posts. She used to post every single day. She used to post a bunch of stuff, and it's completely, you can't go past it anymore. It's done. So she
No
He
damn.
put her Facebook private all of the sudden. Now, people say, well, maybe she didn't want the attention. Maybe she just decided just because people were bothering her. I think there's more to it. I think there's more to it with Trisha Ross having a Facebook private at the same time this is all going on, because she knows she's under investigation. And what is she trying to do? What is she just trying to stay out of the eye? What do you think has anything to do with that, or this whole situation? Do you think it's tied in any way?
Well, I think the idea that she privated her account because she doesn't want attention is laughable, because she is an attention-seeking person.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the reason.
And she has years. And keep in mind, folks, this is someone that was on Facebook, and if you went down her profile before, she would have years and years and years of posts about Solid Rock and the church and their events that they're having and just everything. She was basically putting this guy on a pedestal for years, and all of that is suddenly gone.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that she would
put
her account on private and get rid of all those messages. It makes me think she's actually in hiding. That's what it makes me feel like, that she's actually retreating and she's scared. I don't think that it's anything to do with not wanting attention. I think it's more to do with she's retreating for some reason and trying to maybe distance herself for some reason. And we speculated, did something happen this week with this investigation? Did these people, did Tom Winslow get a target letter? Did Trisha get a target letter? What's going on here? Why all of a sudden are we talking about Dare to Care again? Why is Trisha hiding out? So, because she doesn't seem the type, everyone has said this, she doesn't seem the type that she would ever turn her back on JP. We've been told by countless people that she will literally do anything for him, including go to prison for him.
Dear Lord.
This move of her privating everything is very interesting. Now, she wasn't there last week, was she, at the protest, because she had been dealing with some health issues.
Suddenly medical issues, right? She came out that one time when she prayed on the sidewalk with the other Nick Jenist, right? Jenist? That's his name?
Yeah.
The realtor guy.
Yeah.
They came on the sidewalk. They were praying in front of protesters. A weird act. I don't know who does that. That was very strange. And then the weekend after that, apparently at the superhero, the event where they were dressing up as a superhero, she suddenly had heart issues. Now, we're not making fun of anyone whatsoever with heart issues, but she was in the hospital with some medical complications of something, that coincidentally that day. But this is right after, again, we discussed 2 weeks prior to the 8th, before these aggravation, we said that a bunch of them, their inner circle, had a secret meeting at the church. They were there. And from that point forward, things started escalating with their way they were coming at the protesters and everything like that. We assumed because, the protesters are affecting their church and affecting the recruiting of that
dollar bills not coming in
church and bringing exposure to the operations. They probably see their numbers and they see all their financial numbers and their tithing and everything keep going down. And, they're hostile now for that. Now we have it at another level. It's kicking up a level.
Well, they need someone to blame for the collapse of their church, and they can't possibly take accountability themselves. So they're putting the blame on the protesters. It's all the protesters' fault that no one wants to come to our church. That's where their anger is directed, because they feel that the protesters aren't letting them.
That is laughable.
Move on, continue what they're trying to do. They're basically ruining all their plans. So the protests are ruining everything they try to do. They tried to have Superhero Sunday, and it was a complete and utter disaster.
And another thing is, CJ said in the chat also too. Yes, CJ said that secret meeting could have been the discussions about law enforcement reaching them and what their strategy is moving forward. Discussion like what was discussed. Because when we say the FBI is investigating, folks, ladies and gentlemen, the FBI is investigating this group of people for sure. We know for a 100% fact because we've spoken to people that were questioned by the FBI and referenced them. These people questioned weren't under investigation themselves. They were called in as witnesses, and they cooperated fully with the FBI. They went into the FBI office there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They have an office. They got an office in probably many cities. They have one in Myrtle Beach, and they went there, and the discussion was basically what led up to Micah's death and the financials and the operations, Dare to Care, and the finances of Solid Rock Church. So something's going on here.
Yeah. Now, Grace also pointed out another thing that we talked about before is that JP, remember, we were told right at the beginning, very early on, that JP paid Trisha a very low salary. And he put all of her bills, he basically paid all of her bills through the church. So if all the money's drying up, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, if all that money's drying up now, how's he going to keep supporting Trisha? Do you think at some point in the last couple weeks, JP said to Trisha, hey, I can't support you anymore, the money's drying up, and maybe that's why she's suddenly retreating?
Oh, time to move out.
Because she's in a bind. If he's not going to keep supporting her, where is she going to get money from? You know, so I think it'll be really, really interesting to see if after her 2-week break, if Trisha shows up tomorrow at church. If she shows up tomorrow, that'll be very telling. If she doesn't show up, that will also be very telling. So, you know, her livelihood is at, like, her actual
Bon, thank you.
livelihood is at stake right now. Her car is through the church. I believe he was paying her mortgage through the church. Major bills that were being paid by the church, and she only got like a small salary. You know, I guess they did it for tax purposes. It was a win-win for everybody, right? She has a low salary, probably doesn't pay much in taxes. The church is nonprofit, so they're not paying taxes. So it was a win-win for everybody until it's not. And now somebody is hung out to dry, and that somebody is Trisha. She doesn't have other support. Remember, she's a widower. She's a widow. Her husband died. Her family does not support her. Her own son and daughter-in-law do not support her. So what is she going to do?
Yeah, or maybe JP just replaced her, but I think she's so in it that he can't necessarily do that, because she would definitely whistleblow and share, right, things that are going on, the inner workings and the
Damn, Trisha Ross is like, she's over there Googling, how do I set up pay-per-view interviews?
operations. I'm getting a picture so you guys can see her.
Damn, that's crazy as hell.
Of the Solid Rock Church. She knows a lot. She's basically the right-hand woman to JP Miller, right?
Yes, and she's been with him since 2007. He started Solid Rock in 2006. He started out by preaching to his former drug buddies and ex-cons in a library, and eventually got the church properties and, you know, grew from there. But yeah, Trisha came along in the early days, 2007. That's a really, really long time ago. And she's been with him. So that means she was with him through the entire.
Oh, look, Run to Jay says Trisha was there today, left and came back to do an interview with JP and the Sun newspaper here locally. Boom. See, there you go. We got Run to Jay sandals on the ground. Get it? Because you're dressed like Jesus. You got the robes on. You got the sandals on. I cracked myself up. Let's keep going.
Thing with Allison, she knew about the allegations of the underage girls that Allison brought to light. She's known about everything. The whole time. So
plus she has a record.
It's going to be interesting.
She has a prior record for fraudulent type charges, right? So this would be her second rodeo. So that's a lot of leverage that the FBI or law enforcement, whoever law enforcement, FBI, might be SLED, might be Horry County, it might be Myrtle Beach Police Department, definitely FBI, they have leverage on her to be able to flip her or try to extract information from her where she's willing to cooperate because of her record, because if she goes the second time through fraud, she's going to get double or triple the time. And she's old with health issues. She's a widow.
Yeah, and I mentioned before that, you know, many people have told us, including her, not just told us directly, but we've also heard from her daughter-in-law, who went on an interview a couple months ago and said, you know, she's never going to turn her back on him. She'll go down with him. She'll go to prison for him. People have told us that. Now, I will say this. I don't know, Trisha.
Man, you start pressing a little bit. She'll be like,
personally, but just based on my observations and what I've seen, I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing if she's approached by the FBI and they tell her, Trisha Ross, you're looking at 10 years in prison, 20 years in prison, or you can just wear a wire for us and help us take down JP. I have a hard time believing she would turn that down. I really do. Even though everyone has said, oh, she'll never turn on him. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that she's that selfless of a person that she would go down for him.
Particularly when she sees before her eyes the house of cards crumbling. Like at the
Yeah, that too. By the way, YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. We need 24 more likes to get to 200. We got almost 200 people watching, y'all. The more likes we get, the more people come into the live stream. Same thing with TikTok, y'all. Hit the follow button. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm live every single night. So come on in, hang out with me. I appreciate the love. Almost 60,000 likes on TikTok. Thank you for the little gnome dudes, all the stuff TikTok does. We got to play their game a little bit, but I appreciate it, y'all. And if you want to watch the video with us, come on over to YouTube, search The Mystery Project. You can actually see the video on YouTube. Y'all, let's get 200 likes, though. Come on. 23 left. Let's do it.
Also, if the church was still on its foundation and everything was operational and there were 700 people in there and everything was smooth and everything was flowing good and the gravy train was coming in and stuff like that, yeah, but she sees a dramatic change and she might come to the realization that, you know, this house is falling and it's falling fast and I'm not going down with that sinking ship. Because there's just really, I can't see how the church can rebound at this. I really can't. You got this Liz Pendis, you know, the wording, we'll call it similar to a lien. Now you got assets frozen. You got JP under a microscope. You got church members not going back. It's just not going well. And I don't even think it turns. It doesn't. I don't think the tide turns on this. I think the stock is dropping fast.
Well, I think they're done. I think they're done, and the only ones who don't know it are them. It seems to me that they still are clinging on to some type of hope that somehow a miracle will come. I mean, I guess anything's possible. We saw a miracle yesterday for Alec Baldwin. So never say never. But in my opinion, they're going to need a miracle to get out of this. And I don't see it. And, you know, people always talk about the court of public opinion. Well, the court of public opinion is pretty much undefeated. You know, you can just take O.J. Simpson, for example. He was found not guilty at his trial, but did that change the public opinion on him? No. He died with everyone.
Hell no. Roses, thank you for subscribing and liking. Very sweet of you.
Believing he's a murderer. So you really can't beat the court of public opinion. And this case went international. And the consensus is there. So it's going to be, even if they weren't plagued by protesters every single week and all this other investigations and all these things, even without all that, I still think it would be over for them because, you know, Micah herself exposed him and exposed the church operations. And her videos that she made were very powerful. Her evidence that she collected was very powerful. And it's going to be, I said this from the start, I still will say, I think Micah Miller single-handedly took down JP Miller and Solid Rock Church. And everything that happened since her death has been everyone else, all of us, continuing the work that she started.
Putting all the pieces together.
So Micah Miller is the hero in all this. And, you know, we're just trying to see through what she started. So she single-handedly took this whole thing down.
And you
can't change that.
And just think, when Micah's Law gets passed, and there's no doubt Micah's Law is going to get passed. It's going to get passed. It's going to get passed. Yes. Too much pressure on that. His name will always be synonymous as a abuser towards Micah once Micah's Law, because his name will pretty much be in that bill. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he's the poster child of not be this guy. Literally, when Micah's... He's the
poster child of domestic violence, coercive control.
His face, his image, his behavior.
Damn, that's true.
Behaviors and I mean, how can he even rebound from that? He can't. What is he going to go sue the legislature and say that they're defaming him? He's cooked. He's done. But he'll be in prison most likely when this law gets passed. We're watching, folks, in real time. Things fall apart. But what we do on JLR Investigates, we're invested in this case. We navigate. We see, it's like chess pieces, and we see what's going on in real time. We see the moves these players and participants are making, and we'll call it out, and we see exactly what we see.
Oh, man. Y'all, I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think? A lot of craziness going on. Let me know what you think down in the comments. YouTube, that's it for tonight. I love you guys. 7 more likes and we're at 200. So, y'all, real quick, everybody watching, hit the thumbs up button for me. Thank you so much. I love you guys. YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you like the true crime stuff. I'm live every night. I'll see y'all tomorrow.